Dzień dobry Państwu, dochodzi godzina 18. Wyjątkowo w poniedziałek witam na spotkaniu online z programem English Teaching i Instalink. Dziś 60 minut tradycyjnie wykładu, spotkania, seminarium, podczas którego będzie oczywiście możliwość zadawania pytań. Myślę, że na koniec spotkania ostatnie kilka minut poświęcimy na to, żeby na te pytania zadane na czacie odpowiedzieć. Dziś spotykamy się z człowiekiem wyjątkowym. Mamy przyjemność gościć w naszym studiu Zbyszka Czaję. Zbyszek jest absolwentem Wydziału Anglistyki Uniwersytetu Gdańskiego, jest metodykiem, jest wykładowcą z 30-letnim doświadczeniem w nauczaniu języka angielskiego, praktycznie na wszystkich poziomach i we wszystkich grupach wiekowych. Pracuje na Uniwersytecie Gdańskim, w Instytucie Anglistyki i Amerykanistyki, a prywatnie lubi muzykę, lubi grać na gitarze i jest zafascynowany twórczością The Beatles. Mam nadzieję, że dzisiejsze spotkanie pozwoli Wam rozszerzyć swoją wiedzę, umiejętności, czy też przypomnieć sobie to, co ważne w nauczaniu języka angielskiego. Dzisiaj pierwsza z dwóch części spotkania ze Zbyszkiem. 60 minut, podczas których dowiemy się, jak poprawić wymowę Polaków uczących się języka angielskiego. Nasze spotkanie będzie prowadzone w języku angielskim. Tradycyjnie już zapraszam do wpisywania się na listę obecności. Przypominam, że potrójna obecność potwierdzona wpisem na liście uprawnia do otrzymania certyfikatu uczestnictwa w cyklu webinariów. Życzę miłego odbioru i mam nadzieję ciekawego spotkania, które zakończy się całą masą pytań do Zbyszka. Zbyszku, zapraszamy, startujemy.
Okay. Hello, good evening everyone. Thank you for coming, thank you for joining me. As it's been just said, this is the first part of a workshop devoted to problems that Polish learners of English have with English pronunciation. Today's part of the workshop, of the webinar, will focus on the segmental level. The second part, which I guess, if I remember well, is going to take place on the 4th of December. It's a Friday. We'll concentrate on the suprasegmental level. The segmental level deals with the individual sounds. The suprasegmental level is anything beyond this level, anything above the individual sounds. So word stress, sentence stress, connected speech, intonation, rhythm, and so on and so forth. A very brief introduction. The name of it, the name of the workshop is How to Upgrade the Pronunciation of Polish Learners of English. And in the next an hour or so, I will be sharing with you the most typical, the most common sound substitutions which Polish learners of English like to make, which unfortunately downgrade the Polish accent. Sometimes it's only the accent, but sometimes this also can lead to confusion or misunderstanding. Okay, a few words to put us in a broader picture. Well, still, as we all know, English is a lingua franca. In today's world, English is the language which a lot of people use to communicate across cultures, across frontiers. So it's a common language. It goes without saying that each nationality which uses English to communicate will have an accent. And this accent is caused most likely by the first language each nationality uses. So the sounds of the first language will always interfere when we speak a second language, in this case, English. So if we want to improve communication in English, it sounds reasonable to say that those grossest mistakes, errors, should be reduced, if not eliminated. I don't want to push it too far. I think that saying that minimizing these biggest faults would do a good job as well. In connection with this, there is a job for us to do, because we are teachers. We are the first people to spread the word. So because we know what the problems are. So we know which aspects should be dealt with first and which of them should be eradicated. When we've done this, this will be our contribution to more successful and enjoyable communication. This I have already mentioned. The first language, L1 for short, is something which I have come to call a default system. Unfortunately, most of us, when we started learning English, we already knew Polish. Polish with its sound inventory, with all the Polish sounds. So the Polish sounds is like a well from which we can take sounds that we know, we are familiar with, and we can use the sounds. Although they're not exactly the sounds which have to be used, we often like to take some of them just because they are similar. So what happens is that we tend to use some of the Polish sounds instead of the genuine English sounds. You have to remember, you have to be clear about it, that each language is a unique sound system. The representation which we find, and it should be also kept clear in mind that there is the sounds and the letters. This is what students often mix up. So the sounds are different. The sounds are kind of primary. The letters are secondary. Letters represent sounds, not the other way around. So at this segmental level, our problems will be, as I've mentioned, taking or tapping into the first language sound system and trying to use some of those sounds to speak English, which of course yields a foreign accent. Here are some possible results. So when we speak with a foreign accent, this is the mildest possible effect. So instead of saying minute, Polish people tend to say minute. Instead of jazz, they say dress. Instead of top, it will be top. There also may be confusion. So I'm going to bed, I'm going to bet. Polish people like to devoice the final voice sound. So listen to this. I'm going to bet, I'm going to bet. It's unclear whether you want to place a bet on a horse or you want to go to sleep. When you say team, yeah, this is my team, then you don't know whether you're talking about, Tim, your boyfriend, or team, a group of people. If you say, I want to walk. Again, it's not clear whether you want to go for a walk or you want to go to work. There may also be a complete communication breakdown, because in Polish we say alibi, but in English it's an alibi. So I have an alibi. When you say it to an English person, they will definitely be confused, to say the least. When you say this vehicle is mine, instead of not vehicle, then it's very confusing. And the last one, victuals, if you pronounce the word victuals, which is very likely, I've heard it many times from Polish students, instead of victuals, then there's no way an English person can understand you. Right, so where are the main areas of difficulty as far as the sound system is concerned? a very brief comparison of the Polish sound system and the English sound system. Number-wise, they're very similar. So they both use about 45 sounds in total, but there are differences. So altogether, the quality and the quantity-wise, they are very similar, but the quality of phonemes differs quite a lot. So in the first place, what we notice is that in the English language, we've got 20 vowels. There are as many as 20 vowels, including diphthongs. Diphthongs are 2 vowels put together. On top of that, this is something very few European languages have, and Polish doesn't have it. So this is an extra difficulty. In Polish, we've got only 6 vowels, and sometimes 8, depending on the classification, whether we include O and O. Vowels generally can be referred to as mouth shapes and tongue positions. Another difficult thing is, so it's not only the number, so we have to learn so many new positions of the mouth and positions of the tongue. Also, in English, we have 5 long vowels. Vowel length is not phonemic in Polish. We can make a vowel as long as we want, but this will never change the meaning of a word. In English, it's not so. I will be showing you later some examples. One word about diphthongs. So, again, we have to know that the first element in each diphthong is much longer than the second one. So you say things like hi, not hi. You say my, not my. Because this sounds very, very odd to an English ear. As for consonants, we have many more consonants than the English people have. So we feel much more at ease with consonants. But still, there are differences. So we often forget about aspiration on p, t, k. Yeah, there's, which of course will not stop us from being understood, but an English ear can hear immediately that you're not a native speaker. These 6 sounds, t, d, s, z, n, l, alveolar ridge sounds in Polish dental sounds. On the face of it, not much of a difference, but when you put all those small differences together, there's no way that that English people cannot recognize that you're not a native speaker. Okay, this is the phonemic chart, and actually, every single person who wants to speak English should be really familiar with these sounds. I will very quickly run through these, and then we will move away from the correct sounds to the sounds which Polish people find difficult to make, and the sounds which Polish people like to substitute with their own sounds. So on the left-hand side, so the chart is divided into 3 sections. We've got vowels on the left, and starting from the left to the right, we've got E for eat, E for it, U for put, U for food, E for end, Let me draw your attention to this sound, schwa, the most English sound of all, the most frequent English sound, and not being able to make this sound has far-reaching repercussions. Repercussions for later, and this I'm going to talk about in more detail in part 2 of this seminar. Okay, so this is the smallest, as in about, as in teacher, as in comfort, as in London. Then we've got the 2 dots, very crucial feature, very often kind of overlooked. It really means that the sound is long. When I say long, it means very long. So This sound like burst, burn. Yeah, a sound which English people use to express disgust when something smelly is. And finally, or as in sport, as in core, law. The bottom row starts with a, as in mad. Then we go to as in mud. Then we go to R, as in Martin. And then O, as in on, not. The diphthongs are clear. I've said this already. Students need to know that the first element is longer. So ear, as in near, fear. Ua, as in poor, pure. Air, as in hair, fair. A, as in day, hooray. A word of caution here. Polish people love to substitute this sound with y, palatalized y. So compare its raj in Polish and rye in English, rye. So oi, boy, I, high. And the most tricky diphthong of all for Polish people is this one. O, as in no, as in go, as in show. And finally, ow. So altogether 20 sounds. 20 sounds, think, 20 vowels, 20 mouth shapes and positions to master against 6 or 8 Polish positions of mouth and tongue positions. The third section is consonants. And we've got, again, let me remind you, these are sounds. So it's p, b, t, d, ch, j, k, g, not A, B, C, D. Yeah, these will be letters of the alphabet. So we've got P for Peter, B for Betty, T for Tom, D for Donald, Ch for Charlie, D for John, K for Kate, G for girl, F for factory, V for Victor, Th for think, V for these, S for sorry, Z for Zen, Zorro, Sh for sure, J for beige, M for money, N for neither, N for king, H for hot, holly, L for little, 2 kinds of L, R for rover, run, W for wet, and Y for yellow, yes. One interesting thing, maybe worthwhile mentioning is, before we go into detail in a moment, is about the role that consonants and vowels play in language. So we have to be fully aware of this, that consonants are the base of native accents. So without mastering the consonants appropriately, your vowels may be wonderful, your vowels may be impeccable, but still it's not possible to sound like a near native English speaker. They are like pillars or structure to which vowels are glued, and they contribute more to the meaning than vowels. Look, if I pronounce the consonants only, look, what would you look? Yeah, it still reminds the phrase, what would you like? What would you look? Now look what happens if I do the opposite. I will keep the vowels. Sorry, I'm looking for the cursor, right? So it's o, u, I. Yeah, this is completely incomprehensible. So, to sum up, native accents use the same consonants everywhere. So in Britain, in America, in Australia, most I would say 97, 98%, except for the sound r, which is different in Ireland, different in Scotland, in America. The vowels, the consonants remain the same. Local accents differ in vowels. Luckily, the same seems to be true about Polish and probably about other languages. Look, if I say, if in the south of England, you say love. In the Midlands, love. In the north, it will be love. In Poland, the direction is just the opposite. Here, in the standard Polish, we say prawda. Then somewhere in Silesia, it's prawda. Then in the Highlands, it's prawda. In Kashuby, we say prawda. So this is how accents differ. Unfortunately, non-native accents differ in both vowels and consonants. Right, let's go now for the most favored inverted commas, vowel substitutions, which cause either at least foreign accent, but most likely confusion or misunderstanding. The first of such substitutions is the replacement of e with the Polish e. And then as a result of this, we have the following pronunciations. Instead of fitness, Polish people say fitness. Instead of middle, they say middle. Instead of picture, they say picture. Instead of tennis, they say tennis. Instead of history, they say history. Instead of basic, they say basic or basic, even worse. Now, if we do this, if we don't pronounce this sound as e, but as Polish e, then look what can happen here. Teen, teen, reach, steal, feeling. It's very difficult to know what the person means. Without context, impossible. Compare these two sentences. What a filling. You've just been to a dentist, a wonderful brand new filling. You don't have any more a toothache. And then what a feeling, wonderful, sunshine. Look, steal, bill. And if I don't make the distinction, steal, bill, steal, bill, you don't know what I'm talking about. Or to make even worse, when I make this phrase, steal from Steelworks bill, and if you pronounce it correctly, steal from the Steelworks bill. Polish people are, I mean, we have to be very, very careful with cognates, words which look the same, or even they have the same spelling, they are spelt in the same way, and they exist in both languages. So in English it's limit, in Polish limit. In English it's miss, in Polish miss. In Polish we say pin. Sometimes this is reversed. So some people, I've heard people mispronounce words like, instead of speak, they would say speak, sim, knitting. This is not only a Polish problem. Italian people, French people, Russian people, Spanish people have got the same problem. The second common substitution is substituting o with the Polish o. So look what we get as a result of this trick. Poland, photo, moment, focus, only, totally, okay, don't. Now instead of Poland, photo, moment, focus, only, totally, okay, don't. If we don't keep this distinction, o, or, look at the words below. There's no difference between we will not, won't, won't, whole, whole, pole, or, holy, holly, Holland, Poland, Polish, Polish. Yeah, even the name of the country, Poland, Holland, Holland. If you say Holland, English people are very likely to understand that you're from Holland. It doesn't matter. So they listen more for the vowel, not for the initial consonant. The third common replacement is the substitution of or, long or, with the Polish o, sorry, and the short o, with the Polish o, o. And look what we get. Very common mispronunciation. So Polish people, instead of Warsaw, will say Warsaw. Instead of abroad, they say abroad. Abroad, because Polish people, divorce at the end. Instead of crawl, it's crawl. Instead of drawing, they say drawing. Instead of knowledge, they say knowledge. Instead of because, they say because. Instead of author, they might say author or author. Instead of brought, they say brought. So if this kind of mispronunciation is connected, then look at the possible confusion examples. Raw, row. Then it's row, 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 row. The same. They become homophones. So, it's pronounced as so. Bought, boat will be pronounced as boat, boat. Law, low is low, low. So it's extremely confusing. Of course, I'm giving you these examples in isolation. When the words are used in context, understanding is slightly facilitated, but still, people who are listening to you have to do really, have to make an effort to understand you. Replacement number 4 is substituting the sound with the Polish o. So as a result, we end up having a foreign accent, and instead of saying worse, Polish people say worse. Worst becomes worst. Worth becomes worth. Worthy becomes worthy, or worth, even worse. Even worse. This kind of replacement, of course, can also lead to confusion. So, work, walk. If I say walk, work. Polish people think that when they put this r sound in work, or they try to use it here, where's the cursor? So this is how they try to help themselves out. Work, work. But in this non-regional RP, we don't pronounce the R's in pre-consonantal position. So work becomes work, and then it's difficult to know whether you want to say walk or walk. Then word becomes ward, and it sounds a little bit like ward, a hospital ward. Homework may sound like homework, so homework, homework. The question is, do you walk to work or do you work to walk? Yes, and probably you may have guessed, when you walk to work, when you work to walk, you are in prison, and when you walk to work, you go to work. Just something like this. Okay, part B of the 4th replacement. So is replaced with the Polish S sound. But so the first result is a foreign accent. So this is I'm trying to pronounce these words, mispronounce these words as I heard them. So some people say certain or certain, service, learn, 30, person, sir. So instead of making this sound, certain, service, learn, 30, person, sir, they kind of follow the spelling. And this is one of possible reasons for such mispronunciations. As you know, English spelling is extremely misleading and tricky. So Polish spelling is much closer to the way we pronounce. I'll be coming back to this point later on. A possible confusion: first, fest, turn, 10, world, world. So if this person says first, 10, turn, world, world, further, further. There's no distinction between the words. So this distinction in English is phonemic. It does change the meaning. Replacement number 5. The short is sound is often replaced with a. Look at these words. Fortunately, you end up only having a foreign accent. Certificate, ultimate, delicate, corporate, emirates. And now compare it with the correct English pronunciation. Certificate, ultimate, delicate, corporate, emirates. Yeah, so there's no a, there is a short is sound or possibly a schwa. In some contexts, this will be very confusing because look, there's a group of English in English of words which when the word is a verb, it's pronounced differently, and when the word is an adjective, it's pronounced differently. So we say to separate, but a separate room. To graduate, but he's a university graduate. To estimate, but let's make an estimate. But it can't be too good. There are also exceptions. So the word template, mandate are pronounced with a. Yeah. Let's move to substitution number 3. This is the replacement of the sound of the diphthong ow with the Polish o. If you watch closely my lips, look, ow, ow. In English, it's ow, ow. If you say the word wow, wow, and compare it with the Polish way, wow, wow. And the lips close more for the sound where. The Polish where is more closed. So look what we've got. We've got, this may lead to a foreign accent, as usual, but there may be a possible misunderstanding. So mountain is pronounced as mountain, south as south. Mountainous becomes mountainous, if I remember well. Owl is pronounced as owl. Allow is mispronounced as allow. Nowadays is mispronounced as nowadays. Crown becomes crone. Coward becomes coward. Trousers become trousers. And fountain may be mispronounced as fountain. Number 7, Polish learners of English like to replace e with the Polish e in some words. Look at these words, which yield foreign accent and possibly may cause confusion. Region should be region. Regional should be regional. Media, yeah, social media. Social media, on TV, you hear so many people saying social media, both pronounced incorrectly. Legal, and the mispronunciation, legal. Legion, legion. Lethal, lethal. Finally, a small group of words in which Polish people replace the long o with a. Because again, probably they are reading or they have forgotten to learn that in this context, this letter A will be realized as O. So instead of salt, I've heard many people say salt and pepper. Ball, funny, when it's a ball, this thing to play, they pronounce it as ball. But when this is a dance, like many people, gathering together to dance, they pronounce it as bal. Small becomes small, install becomes install, and the sea that Poland has access to is the Baltic Sea. The Baltic Sea. And of course, it should be Baltic Sea. There's one case of possible confusion. Hall if I pronounce both words as, look, if it's hull, a big room, and hull, part of a ship, then they both are hull, hull, a hull, a hull. The final, actually, this is number 9. Number 9 is a replacement of the schwa with full value vowels, either Polish near equivalents or English, other English full vowels. I was wondering, this is in fact the most serious, the most far-fetching, what's the right word? It's got this kind of failure to produce the schwa sound has got further repercussions in natural connected fast speech. So instead of saying about, some people say about or about. Instead of actor, they say actor. Instead of animal, they say animal. Instead of social, they say social. Lemon lemon becomes lemon. Poland. And then weak forms, yeah, must, for, should. So these are the most common vowel substitutions that Polish learners typically choose to make. Now let's look at consonant substitutions. In most cases, if we substitute a Polish near equivalent consonant for an English consonant, we end up gaining or attaining foreign accent. So look at the following points. So the first one is very easy to notice, is the replacement of the and th with the Polish z, or then d, z. So we've got a number of these. So probably you are quite well acquainted with these, because your students must be making quite a lot of these this kind of mistakes. So the may be realized as the, as z, or as the. So if we take the word the, then it can be z, it can be z, it can be the. When it comes to this sound, the voiceless, th, then it may be realized as sink. Sorry. Sorry. Right, here we go again. So we've got, yes, so think may be realized as sink, I think, I think. I want to draw attention to the bottom confusion possibility. Look, 3, 3, 3. If we can't make the th sound correctly, yeah, 3, 3, 3, 3. You can say 3, 3. It's so confusing. I sometimes myself get mixed up when saying these things. Think, sink. Yeah, this may be quite tricky. Thick, thick, sick. So in this sentence, it may also be it may not be foreign accent, but it may be confusing, because if you say that somebody's sick, it's different from somebody who is thick, stupid. The next thing Polish people like to do when dealing with consonants is the replacement of sh, j, ch, j with either the Polish sh, j, ch, sh, or sh, j, sorry, sh, j, ch, j. There's one thing that has to be made clear at this point, that the Polish, you have to remember that the Polish sounds are like on both sides of the English sound. So we've got dental, if you look here, we've got kosz and kosz, leże, leże, czek, czek, dzień, dzień. So in your mouth, your tongue kind of jumps quite a distance from the alveolar ridge to the hard palate. Actually, this is palatalized, so it's soft palate. So listen to me saying these words: kosh, 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 kosh. Leisure, leisure, leisure. Sorry, leisure. Check, check, check. Dzień, jam, jam. The difference you can notice better if you put yourself in the shoes of an Englishman trying to speak Polish. And then as an Englishman, you've got only these sounds in the middle, which cover both. So you say, kosh. An Englishman trying to read the Polish words would say, kosh, kosh, leisure, leisure, check, check, jam, jam. So actually there would be no difference, no difference. So this is what we have to remember. The English sounds come in between the two Polish sounds. The most common substitution of consonants, number 3. This is quite a strong accent revealing feature. And you must have heard quite a lot of this. Polish people, in some words, tend to replace the sound s with z. Look at these words. Basic. It's not basic. It's exclusive. Exclusive. It's not exclusive. It's crisis in English. It's not crisis. Isolated is pronounced as it's not isolated. Mustn't is mispronounced as mustn't. Disappear is not disappear. Emphasis is not emphasis. Analysis is not analysis. Leasing is leasing. It's not leasing. Baseball is not baseball. Baseball, leasing, and these would be pronounced in Polish with z, but not in English. Useless, it's not useless. Facebook is not Facebook, which we in Polish say Facebook, but in English it's Facebook. In Polish we say episode, in English we say episode. Then we say misunderstanding, not misunderstanding. Philosophy, in Polish filozofia, philosopher, philosoph. Useless, it's again, sorry. Ecstasy, ekstaza. And unfortunately, there are some exceptions again. Normally, English people would say fantasy, not fantasy, but in some northern accents, the z is possible. I was very reluctant to admit this, but I found this in a dictionary, and the z pronunciation is there as a kind of regional pronunciation. Disgrace, I would never say disgrace, but again, it's the same story. Further up north, it's possible. Disgrace, disgrace. Brexit, usual pronunciation, Brexit is possible. Pervasive, pervasive. So either this or that. So a very small, I would say, switch of the letter of the sounds, says, but it does kind of contribute a lot to the upgrading of your pronunciation, because this is such a common thing that Polish people do. Number 4, another one, very simple thing which Polish people tend to do. They replace the sound h with h. There's no doubt that this is caused by the spelling. So instead of saying chemical, they say chemical. Technology becomes technology. Charisma becomes charisma. Technical becomes technical. Characteristic becomes characteristic. Architect becomes architect. Polytechnic in Polish, in English, polytechnic. Technika, technique. Hierarchy, hierarchy, hierarchy. Chaos, not chaos, or chaos. Technological, not technological. And of course, the music, techno, 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 is techno, not techno. Choir is not choir, or choir, even worse. Another replacement, which is one of the favored ones by Polish learners of English, is that of se to se. So I've heard quite a few people saying certificate or certificate, to make it even worse, certificate, concentrate, specific, fascinating, participate, concept, discipline, scenario, recipe, scissors, cinema, facilitate, accept, specialist. And now if you compare it with certificate, concentrate, specific, fascinating, participate, concert, discipline, scenario, recipe, scissors, cinema, facilitate, accept, specialist. So again, if this small thing is dealt with, then our accent becomes more refined. So another aspect, negative aspect of our Polish pronunciation is removed. Number 6 and 7, when it comes to consonants, having said what I have said, I will repeat this once again. We tend to, I can see a mistake here, consonants. We tend to use the Polish dental n, t, d, s, z, l instead of making these 6 sounds on the alveolar ridge. Alveolar ridge, the teeth ridge, higher. So compare some of these sounds will not be so much different, but all together, when you put all the sounds together, because there are so many of them in English words, there is a problem with this. So n, n, t, t, d, d, s, s, z, z, l, l. So words like nice, lady, test, doll, sister, zen. Now the Polish way. Nice, I'm not sure if I can do it. Nice, lady, nice, nice. Lady, lady. Test, test. Doll, doll. Sister, sister. Zen, zen. So there is, to a native speaker's ear, there is a difference. And we're talking about going towards a near native accent. A similar story with the plosive p, t, k, p, t, k. In Polish, these sounds are not aspirated. In English, they are. So Poland, not Poland. Pepper, not pepper. Pop, time. Pottery, not pottery. Tight, tight. Catch, catch. Focus, nick, nick. 2 possible explanations. One is definitely Polish, Polish phonology. That is phonetics and phonology. Because we know Polish so well, we don't have to think about it. It's our first language. Then when in need, when we are short of the knowledge of English phonology, we tend to make use of something from Polish. It's interesting because, you know, and phonics. Phonics is the way we read particular spellings. So I've mentioned this in Polish. The way we read is much closer to the way we pronounce. In English, this is very, very confusing. So in English, we've got 8 vowels. In Polish, we've got 8 vowel sounds, and for each vowel sound, we've got a letter. So it's easy. It's 1-to-1 correspondence. In English, there are only 6 vowel letters, but 20 vowels. So those vowels are covered kind of with different letter combinations. Yes, and the other reason for these mistakes, mispronunciations, probably is English spelling. But it's worth remembering that you know the way the spelling today perhaps was the way English was spoken, but a few centuries ago. And when people started printing books and they had to decide on some kind of spelling. And over the 5 centuries, spoken language has changed, and the spelling has remained. Okay, so this is it, but not everything. I'm just reminding you, the 4th of December, 6 o'clock, it's a Friday, so please come and join me during the second part of this seminar. We'll be looking at the suprasegmental level. Now, to go through the main sound changes that Polish people like to do, look at these sets of words one more time. So the first set of words, is replaced with I by Polish people. So big, picture, this, think, event. Instead of big, picture, think, this, thing, event. In these words, totally, photo, local, radio, notice, Polish people like to use O. Totally, photo, local, radio, notice. Instead of using the sound Polish people go for O. So work, occur, or this is probably occur, they would say. World, confirm, word. Instead of work, world, confirm, word. Number 4, monitor, certificate, London, comfortable, cupboard. Instead of using schwas here in unstressed syllables, Polish people tend to pronounce them fully. So monitor, certificate, London, or London, comfortable, cupboard. Long O is often replaced with O. So instead of Warsaw, it's Warsaw. So abroad, it's abroad. Award becomes award. This is distorted in many different ways. Important becomes sorry, there's a important doesn't belong here, I'm sorry. Author. Then we've got long E problem. I mean, because in general, vowel length, as I said right at the beginning, is a problem. So long E, long long, they have to be really, really long. Some other sounds, this short R sound, which I have not mentioned before, can be distorted in many different ways. So love, it's love, cover, some people say cover, color, collar, oven becomes oven, front becomes front. Prayer, instead of prayer, area, instead of area, there instead of there, parent instead of parent. And the S, now the consonants. So remember, we should use S instead of Z. So episode, not episode. Mustn't, not mustn't. Inclusive instead of inclusive. All inclusive sounds very good when you talk to Polish people, but not to English people. Baseball, not baseball. Basis, not basis. H instead of H, Polish people go for H because they can see the H. So chaos, technical, technology, mechanism. And the last one, instead of S, Polish people tend to say S. So retreat, scissors, scenario, concentrate, discipline. Okay, I think we can stop at this point because we have 5 minutes. I will leave this on the screen. These are some essential facts which have to be made clear to our students. So I've mentioned most of these things, so I think it's not worth it. I mean, we don't have to talk about this. Okay, we've got 4 minutes. So if you have any questions, please ask them now. I'll try to answer.
Myślę, Zbyszku, że zadanie pytań bez dźwięku może być trudnym wyczynem albo wyczynem w ogóle w przypadku akurat dzisiejszego tematu.
Chciałem powiedzieć.
Myślę, że zaprosimy Państwa na drugą część naszego spotkania, które odbędzie się w piątek, 4 grudnia. Również polecam Państwa uwadze warsztaty, które poprowadzi Zbyszek, na których to warsztatach będzie można już bardziej interaktywnie pouczestniczyć w trenowaniu swojej wymowy, tak aby nie doszło do tego słynnego niemieckiego przypadku Straży Przybrzeżnej we are sinking, what are you saying? Tak, z drugiej strony miejmy nadzieję, że tutaj
Go ahead, keep sinking.
Keep thinking. Feel free to keep thinking. Warsztaty ze Zbyszkiem wciąż są otwarte, można się zapisywać. Warsztaty dedykowane są nauczycielom z szkół wiejskich i z małych miejscowości, takich, w których mieszka do 20 000 mieszkańców. Zapraszamy do uczestnictwa. Rejestracja poprzez naszą stronę internetową englishteaching.org.pl. Tam wciąż jeszcze kilka miejsc mamy do wykorzystania. Zapraszam Państwa na otwarte spotkanie w przyszły piątek, czyli nie w tym tygodniu, a jeszcze raz do przodu. I cóż, miłego poniedziałkowego wieczoru życzę. Pozdrawiamy w imieniu English Teaching i Instytutu. Do zobaczenia i do usłyszenia.
Okay, see you in December. Bye-bye.